enter a third time now. It says guess because it's going to be an approximation. It's a really close approximation. And there is your vertex. So this is why it says guess. Because it says 1.50000017. What's the x value you're going to use? 1.5. Okay, round that. Calculators are just giant rounding machines because they're all controlled by computers. Okay, it's all stuff like that. They don't have the intuition that you have. That is the goal. Because you have to control the calculator. Don't let the calculator control you.
It doesn't matter where you do it on the left side.
Just as long as the maximum is in between the left and the right that you put in there. Okay? So, all of that, back up to this original question. State the value of the minimum maximum of f of x. So which number is the maximum that they want? The 1.5 or the 27? The y value of the vertex. So this is our maximum. So on this same sentence up here, I'd say f of x has a maximum of 27. Oops, sorry, let me slow down. Up here, this is where I wrote it. We had this sentence up here where we're writing our answer. Maximum of 27. Now if the x is time, at what time does the maximum occur? 1.5 seconds. Okay, so the x value tells you when the maximum occurs. The y value tells you what it is. The x is when it occurs. The y value is what it is. Okay. That's somewhat okay on the calculator. We'll do another one, but the graphing should be fairly familiar, a little bit, hopefully. Maximum will be the new part. Okay, the third part to these questions is state, domain, and range. Domain. Is domain the x or the y? X. So on this graph, domain is the x. Are there any x values that would not work? Okay. We see the picture we have here. As the graph goes to the left, is the graph going forever to the left?
Yeah.
Is it going forever to the right?
Yes.
So what's our domain? All real numbers. So x equals all real numbers. This is going to be true for any quadratic. So spoiler alert on your homework. Your domain every single time is going to be all real numbers. Okay? Every quadratic, the domain is all real numbers. The range is what's going to be different each time. The range is y. Almost. We have a maximum. We have a maximum, and we're going down from that maximum. So y is less than or equal to 27. So if you have a maximum, you're going to use y is less than or equal to the max. If you have a minimum, you're going to use y is greater than or equal to the minimum. So that's kind of your cheat sheet for your range. So you just kind of, oh, I have a minimum, so your range is y is greater than or equal to whatever that minimum is. Okay, 22 to 39. So let's put that all together for this one right here. So let's say they give you f of x equals 3x squared plus 8x plus 5. So first thing, you state whether the function has a minimum or a maximum. Minimum, because of the 3, the 8, or the 5. Which one tells you that? The 3. Okay. F of x has a minimum of, now we graph it, and we're going to use our calculator to help us find that minimum. Without the calculator, you would have fractions to work with, just so you know. Okay. So if you don't want to use a calculator, you can work with fractions, because the x value of vertex would be negative 4/3. So you'd be plugging in negative 4/3 and calculating your y value of that, of 1 1/3. Your window may need to be changed. You can always go back to your standard window by going zoom 5, or zoom 6. Zoom 6 takes you to your standard window. So if you always want to start with that, then you can kind of see if you need to adjust things from there. This one, of course, doesn't look like we need to. Got it already? Alright. Now don't put 0.3 repeating. What fraction is 0.3 repeating? Negative 1/3 would be your minimum. Are we all there? Please let me know if we're having calculator issues. Okay, Cassandra. Let me give you left balance. Put it on the left side of the minimum. Enter. Now move it to the right side of the minimum. Where? Okay, finish up domain and range once you have that. Third. Domain. X equals all real numbers. All the time for this one. With quadratics, it's going to be all real numbers all the time. If it's a quadratic. Range, we have a minimum. So we want to use greater than or equal to 1/3. Just that simple. Okay. Okay. That's a good portion of it. Now, when you get to 33 through 39, guess what? It's going back to the graphing. But what I want you to do for these now, look at some of these numbers. Not very fun, right? You're using the calculator to do this. Okay? So when you get to these, type the equation in here. Remember, you have a table of values you can use. That will give you points. And you can use these points to help you graph the quadratic. Okay, find the vertex and then use these other points. Finding the vertex is the minimum or the maximum. Okay, so on 33 to 39, I want you to use your calculator to find the vertex and the table of values and you will graph those on paper, but you can use the calculator to do that work for you, do the calculations for you, okay? So some of those, I want you to practice being able to get a graph and translating that onto paper as well. Okay. I'll let you get going and let me know if you have any questions that come up. There is a word problem thrown in there as well. I'll let you chew on that one for a little bit. I don't know if you get stuck.